You know, I record all of these videos from my room, and I play these games in my room, and I edit these videos in my room. I need to get out of my room, somewhere fun, like an amusement park. That sounds fun. But I'm a puppy. If I go anywhere beyond the backyard on my own, you're gonna call animal control on me. But I'm not a dog, I'm just a puppy girl. It's a big difference. I've tried explaining it so many times. They don't understand. They just put me inside of a net and then bring me to the station. So sad. Do I know how animal control works? Not really. It's not like I have time for amusement parks. I'm uploading every day in the month of August 2024, where I rank every single Kirby any % speedrun. Check out the playlist for more. Hint, hint. Also, if you want to help a puppy out, consider giving this video a like and ringing that notification bell after subscribing to the channel. It helps me out as a creator an absolute ton, and if that's not enough, it'll also help me defeat my arch nemesis, Captain Stitch. We've lost contact with Board, which has me worried for the future of Captain Stitch's plans, and your support is greatly appreciated. If you would like to go the extra mile, please consider becoming a Puptron on Patreon or join as a Mempup on YouTube. You get nifty perks, including early access to the Kirby Month Any Percent Speedrun rankings. Special thanks to my head-patting Fluffle fan Puptrons and Mempups, Freakish Uproar, Lydia Scribe, and Vilifar. I love you all. Before we talk about the amusement park, literally, that is Merry Magoland, I got me some splaining to do. Some pup-splaining, if you will. Why am I talking about Merry Magoland, specifically Merry Magoland 100 missions? That's an any % run, but when there's a story mode any % run right there. And then once I answer that, why aren't I talking about the obvious best part of the game, Magalore Epilogue, and that any %? Well, to answer the first question first, I'm not crazy about the changes for the any % speedrun here. Yeah, Clear Fluffle likes it less than Vanilla Return to Dreamland. What a shock. You use Wing even more than you used to, and Ninja is also replaced with Sand. And you know what they say, I don't like sand, it's coarse, and it's rough, and it doesn't head pat. As for Magalore Epilogue, that mode is fantastic, and the any % speedrun is equally so. In fact, in terms of length, I actually like Magalore Epilogue's brisk pace a lot more than Merry Magoland's, but there are little things in Epilogue that bother me, like not having the dash attack, Magalore Surge, right away. The other unlockables, I'm fine with needing to wait for those, but that dash attack, guys, it's like a drug. I want it sooner than you get it. For the speedrun at least, it makes the beginning a little dry for me. Anyway, super fun still, I'm just saying. That said, if Merry Magoland is so good, I'm not gonna ask where is Merry Magoland 2, but I will ask, how is this better than Magalore Epilogue? Isn't it just a minigame collection? And to that I say, yes. Yes it is. And, at least for me, all of these minigames are really fun. Well, 9 of them are. I'll never like Samurai Kirby, but the others are a great time. Whether or not you're gunning to clear as many missions as you can, or working towards a big toughie, playing these minigames with the missions and a timer in mind is some of the most fun that I have with this game. Are the final 20 missions obnoxious? I mean, the Samurai Kirby one is, but I don't know, I think the others are alright. Annoying for a speedrun, but that's why we ignore them! Yay, we love any percenting so we can ignore selective things! Wahoo! On the surface, this speedrun has a lot going against it though. Wouldn't there be tons of random factors? Wouldn't the CPUs get annoying? Don't you need online to play Samurai Kirby 100? And online as itself is normally banned in speedruns? Is the reward at the end being Magalore's face really worth it? Well, thankfully, none of these are actually an issue. Magalore is actually one of my favorite characters, so getting his mask as a reward doesn't bother me. If anything, I think it's really funny, and more fuel for the Magalore is such a jerk fire that I love so much. Samurai Kirby 100, meanwhile, can actually be played offline and has very consistent strats based around that fact. The randomness is also a very small factor. None of these games are inherently luck-based, so as long as you play well enough, you can be consistent. The CPUs, on the other hand, they're actually kind of a genuine cause for concern. The level ones are fine, but the higher up you go, the harder they are. It can be really, really hard to be really, really consistent in a game where you need to do X amount of things, where the 3 CPUs are really, really good at doing really, really X amount of things, I guess. It's not impossible, and clearing a difficult speedrun like this, aside from maybe the True Arena, it's definitely the hardest speedrun in the game, which honestly is hilarious in and of itself, has its own feeling of reward to it. But if you want the real ticket for how to do well in Merry Magoland any %, I've got one word that could be misconstrued to be 2 words: multiplayer. Now, don't get me wrong, multiplayer isn't the be-all, end-all solution to everything. You're still required to do Samurai Kirby single player, for example. And if you don't know, SK has arguably the most difficult mission of them all to do quickly. Beating hard in one go, that's really tough. The Meta Knight is much easier than he would be in a different form of Samurai Kirby, requiring a reaction time of 17 seconds or better instead of 11. That's nice, but the average human reaction time translates to about 12 to 16 seconds. Basically, it's a little less than what Meta Knight requires, but not really. Checkerboard Chase also requires at least 1 computer, but 1 computer is a lot better than 3. It can be tricky, but compared to Samurai Kirby, totally fine. Basically, the reason why this works out is because multiplayer is just better. Even without online, that fact just stands. Well, I mean, I'm saying multiplayer and stuff, probably gonna keep saying it throughout the video, and I'm not gonna stop, that's just how I am, deal with it, hee hee hee. But it really is more like 1 player with 4 controllers. Of course, it doesn't have to be 4 controllers, but I find it best with that since it gives the CPU less of a chance to screw you over. Say what you will about the satisfaction of clearing a hard run, there is serious joy in just knowing that factors outside of your control can't mess you up. If there is one thing that this puppy doesn't want, it's getting messed up. Trust me. All that said, multiplayer is the be-all, end-all solution to everything. Puppy got you! Aside from Samurai Kirby, multiplayer saves this speedrun from being really tough but satisfying, not even as good as Magolor Blog though, to the best speedrun in the game. Consistency, focus, and skill matter far more than sweating and hoping the CPUs cooperate. Well, I guess that makes it sound more luck-based single player than it would be otherwise, but I'm defending the multiplayer, so I don't care. Some game modes that become way faster are Crackety Hack. You can have all 4 people get really high scores to finish it super quickly. There's Smash Ride, where you can focus on clearing missions and racking up score instead of stressing over the impossibly good CPUs. And who can forget Kirby on the Draw from the best game ever made, which changes from an intense battle against several CPUs to clear every mission you can in the single player into one of the easiest parts of the game. And yes, despite the speedrun being excellent, I still say this is the worst mode of Return to Lux. I have a pretty old, still accurate though, video talking about why I think Merry Magoland stinks. I also have a video where I talk about why I think this specific speedrun rocks. Honestly, this video kinda redundant, but I don't know, if you're leaving this video wanting to know more than what I've talked about, check that video out. I'm still pretty happy with it. Not everybody was. I remember getting some scathing comments on it, but I don't know, it was pretty good. If I had to add one comment compared to that last video, it'd be that, unlike basically every other Kirby game, Return to Dreamland and Deluxe do very little to stop you from playing the game once you start. Barely any cutscenes, no moments where the gameplay slows down to a crawl. They're really well paced, and Merry Magoland, I'd argue, is the best paced Kirby speedrun since 2008's Superstar Ultra. Yup, that game again. Before we sing our song together again, hey, the month is almost over, it'll be gone before long, I figured it might be fun to rank the minigames based on how much I like them in the any % run. On the bottom is Samurai Kirby, no surprise, but beyond that, these were actually tough to rank. I went with Magolor's Tome Trackers at number 9 just because I feel like it's a little too easy with the other Kirbys admiring Magolor's magnificent mustache. I don't blame them, of course. Above that is Bomb Rally, amazing minigame, just a bit basic for what the speedrun offers otherwise. Easy is fine, basic, I mean, it's still fine, I guess, just not as fine. Above that is Egg Catcher, which is a really fun minigame, but the long grind at the end can be a little bit much. Next up, I put Crackety Hack since it's also super basic, but the optimization of having 4 players to rack up scores super fast is insane. The level 2 being the hardest mission of them all is also a big laugh, at least for me. Next up again is Booming Blasters. There's a lot to praise here, but getting the super shot of super deathness and hitting a bunch of people, not only is it required for the mission, it is super satisfying. I also love getting everybody together, giving them a little shooty shoot to make them explode faster. I think that's super fun. At 4th, despite it being the best Kirby minigame ever, I rank Checkerboard Chase. That one CPU keeps this one feeling a bit intense, especially on the higher difficulties like intense. At 3rd, I put Smash Ride. Bullying the other Kirbys is just hilarious. And the challenge being knocking out the hard-to-hit Squeaks instead of knocking out the hard-to-hit Squeaks while the CPUs knocked them out instead. I don't know, I just like this version a lot better. I don't know. At 2nd is Kirby on the Draw from Kirby Superstar Ultra, best game ever. I don't know, I get that there's no real challenge to it technically, but you do need to shoot down as many targets as you can for the mission, and I think that makes it so much more addicting and tense. Really gives a different kind of challenge to it that you can only get from the speedrun, and I love that so much. And finally, at number 1 is Ninja Dojo. There is so much to love about this part, at least with the multiplayer. Single player, this is a lot lower, but with 4 Kirbys whose scores get combined for the sake of the missions, it adds so much depth to this mode. Getting a bunch of bullseyes, trying to get high scores, having backup in case you lose, but still needing to be really, really good at it, it is the best. And now it's time for Fluffo Fans. It's Claire Fluffo's speedrunning tip of the day. Yay! For Return Deluxe, Mary Magaland specifically, of course, the best piece of advice that I could give has nothing to do with the run once you've actually started. Rather, it's what you do before and after. That sounds weird, but I'm sure you've heard this puppy say weirder things in the past. So, fun fact, you don't actually start the game with Mary Magaland unlocked. It's not as hard to unlock as, say, the extra mode. You just have to beat the first 2 levels to get it. I can do that with my hands tied behind my back, completely defenseless to all of you and your headpads. Anyway, once you get to this point, close the game and make a cloud save backup. Make sure your Switch is set to never cuck you by overwriting it, open the game, have fun, and then overwrite your cloud save. Do that, and bam! Magaland is ready to be played again. Wahoo! I mean this in more of a meta sense than usual, but speedrunning is hilarious. I already went into my Angie ramble earlier, so I don't need to repeat myself, but I really do not like this mode outside of the speedrun context. The missions help, and they literally make the run, but there's just too much that bothers me otherwise for it to be something that I like. But you give me those missions, I don't know, it's fun for a day, not something I really want to do again though. But give me those missions and put a timer in front of me, bam, best any % speedrun in the game, one of the best things about it straight up. I don't know how it stacks compared to the True Arena speedrun, but we're not talking about those! Yay! Anyways, I'm off to make more videos as usual, so I have been Claire, thank you all so very much for watching, and I will see you around. Oh, bye-bye!